All right, there we go. And it's,
We're on?
yep, we're on. It's all you. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, thanks for having me. My name is Helen McFadden, and I'm a Diamond Ambassador with Plexus. And it's just such a privilege to even be able to say that. It feels so, just to have this title. But it's really just a reflection of a lot of dedication, a lot of amazing people that God has blessed me with to be part of my team, to have this dream life. And I know Alyssa shared with me, a lot of you on this call today aspire to be diamonds. And what I hope my story does, if nothing else, it just completely inspires you to believe that if she can do it, I can do it. Because I really, truly believe with every fiber of my being that anybody can get to the top of this company. Like, anybody can. We have people, high school dropouts, people with PhDs. It doesn't matter. It's a very different industry than most. And I think that a lot of people think it's something different than it really is. And when they join, they discover how different it really is from what they thought. But I like to look at what my journey has been over the last 20 years, since I have been a cumulative years in network marketing now, about 20 years as school. And it's just like anything else. If somebody was going to tell me how to become a nurse, I would have to go to school and have teachers and people that would have to educate me on that profession. Well, network marketing is no different, but I don't think a lot of people really understand that. So I look at what I have been through in network marketing as school. I feel like sometimes I have my master's degree in people, because that is the common variable. It doesn't matter what you're selling, the common variable is people. And that's the tricky part of this business, because we aren't anybody's bosses. We are leaders, we become leaders, and our job is to help people get what they want out of the business. So there's a whole learning curve on how that all works and how to get to the top. And so my journey actually started back in 1993. I joined a cosmetic company shortly after I got married, and I actually moved to Nashville, Tennessee the first 2 years of that company, and that's how I met Sonia Dudley, who to this day is my best friend and power partner in Plexus, and also a fellow Diamond Ambassador. And I got out of that industry in 2008. I gave up my leadership position in 2008, and I held on to my customers. I had about 100 plus customers, and I gave them away after another year, because I really truly felt done with the industry. I was around 40 years old. I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. I was taking care of my aging parents when I left network marketing, and I took that opportunity, because I didn't need to be doing it full time, to have a lot of different part-time jobs to try to figure out what I want to be when I grow up. It was a stressful time in many ways, but it was also an exciting time. But when you're in your 40s and you don't have a college degree, and you haven't worked in the sales force or outside of your home for that long, 16 years, it was very intimidating. But I faced that fear. I actually even went back to school for 9 months, thinking I wanted to be a school teacher, and I got into $9,000 of online credit card debt, or school loan debt, and that was not fun when I quit that, because I realized that wasn't my passion. My favorite job that I had of all my jobs, part-time jobs, was I was a Weight Watcher leader. I had that position for 3 years, one meeting a week down in Carson City, which is just south of where I live in Reno, Nevada. And I loved that meeting. I loved my members. It's what I miss most about network marketing, was helping people reach goals, being a leader, motivating and inspiring. I feel like that's one of my gifts, and I felt like I loved doing it. I connected with my members. It was just on a much smaller scale than network marketing, because I had a limited crowd of 30 people about every Saturday morning. But I loved it nonetheless, and I also really fell in love with helping people get healthy and more into fitness. I've been a runner now for 10 years. I've run 2 half marathons. I mean, not like a serious runner, but enough to where, it's been pretty consistent in my life. So I was on Facebook one day in the summer of 2012, after much prayer about needing a plan B in my life. When my parents are no longer with me, I still do have my mom in my life. She's got pretty severe Alzheimer's at this point of her life. My dad passed away from type 2 diabetes and had onset Alzheimer's from that, and a lot of immune issues, which ultimately was the cause of his death. So it's been a real trying last 10 years, for sure, taking care of my parents, but what I just knew that brought me a lot of joy was helping people. So I was on Facebook and I saw the name of a friend I used to be in the cosmetic company with, who always lived in Mississippi, and I always was in Tennessee after I had moved back from Tennessee, and or I was in Nevada after I moved back from Tennessee, and I learned quickly that she was in a company called Plexus. She had just picked up a brand new Plexus Lexus. I had a very stinky old Lexus that I actually had taken as my last. I had 8 free cars in my old company, and the last one, instead of a pink Cadillac, so now you all know what company was, but instead of taking the pink Cadillac, I actually took the cash and bought a used Lexus, and that was my car up until I joined Plexus, but it wasn't shiny and white and smelling great anymore, because my son would get car sick a lot, so I don't even have to go there. You guys can figure out, probably a lot of you are moms and you get it. So I was so intrigued with Plexus for many reasons. The pink drink seemed to be the answer to so many of my, myself included, who still had sugar and carb cravings, but also a lot of my Weight Watcher members who struggled so much doing everything right, drinking their water, counting their points, blah, 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 but they couldn't lose weight. And much of that was because they still had that carb and sugar addiction. And that's very hard to lose weight. And then now I've learned through Plexus is, there's an underlying reason why we have those cravings and addicted to sugar. So I took a huge leap of faith. And I want to, this is a really important part of my story, because I think people get really tripped up with how many people join Plexus, have to have a testimony first, and then they can start sharing. I did not join Plexus just for the products like most people. I joined for the business. I saw, after I had a long conversation calling Sheila in Mississippi and asking her where could I go find a meeting in Reno, and she was like, Helen, there's like nobody on the West Coast practically that does Plexus. All the Lexus drivers at the time, there were 17 in the whole company. They all lived within a 3-hour radius of Sheila in the Gulf of Mississippi. So she, she was a new sapphire. There were no diamonds in the company yet. And because I had perspective from leaving that company years prior that had 3 million beauty consultants and, just a completely different type of industry, only women, limited market, that's just, it is what it is. That was just the type of industry it was. And then seeing something like weight loss, which is a $66 billion industry, men and women are my market. Nobody on the West Coast. There was less than 20,000 ambassadors at the time I joined Plexus. No diamonds. I had perspective to understand what I had at my fingertips. And so it's an important part of my story because, see, I went into Plexus believing that I would go to the top of this company. And I want you to know it wasn't from a cocky standpoint or anything. It was just that I had a lot of skills. There was amazing training in the other company. My best friend, Sonia, joined me, and she was like, well, if these products do what they say they're going to do and this thing's legit, we are going all the way to the top. And it didn't take long to find that out. After a week or two, her pain symptoms were diminishing. We both lost weight our first week. And I remember Sheila saying, Helen, people are desperate to lose weight and feel better, and they're desperate to make extra money. If you will just take this business seriously, it will fall in your lap. Now, I don't want you to think it just fell in my lap by just talking. There's a lot more to it, as we all know. But that was my mindset, and mindset is everything. And so Sonia and I, when we locked arms early on in this opportunity, so the fall of 2012, we had numerous conversations daily about that we believed in this business. We believed in ourselves. We started to just gain team members, and we realized what we had right away, and so that became our mindset. And the reason I share that part of my story, it's so important, is because so many ambassadors I still find have doubts. Even though they want it bad, they doubt whether it's the products, possibly themselves, network marketing, the company, the opportunity. It needs to be a 10 in every single area, like not even a 9.5. Like it has to be a 10. Why? Because what did I start talking about in the very beginning? People. And people will rain on your parade. You probably all have family members and friends that you thought would jump on board the second you told the word Plexus, and they won't, you can't even talk about it with them. It's awkward. They might talk behind your back. You might have family that it's just really, you know, put you in a bad spot in your family. I mean, I've seen it, I've lived it all, and I've seen it all. And it's a shame to me that people do not, they allow outside influences to steal their confidence, their excitement, their passion, and their dream. See, what Plexus offers is the whole package. And people do really deep down crave what we have. They just don't know that it's Plexus. But we have to believe, every single bit of us has to believe that we have the opportunity of a lifetime. And it has to show up in our posture. It has to, and when we believe it, it'll show up more boldly in our conversations. See, like from the beginning, and I want you to know too, like, it's not like we had this amazing start and we both fast started and all that stuff. Remember, this was like years ago when we didn't have near the testimonies that we do now. It wasn't a presence on Facebook like we had now. So we still had some, like, oh my gosh, we need to see Sheila hold an event. Like, we didn't really know exactly how to do this business, even though we understood the industry and what it took. So I actually flew to Tennessee. Sheila flew to Tennessee in November. So we've been in Plexus. We were both silvers, probably, you know, on our way to gold, sort of, by that time. But we watched Sheila do a ton of, we were running in and out of, you know, Sonia has this little town where there's like courthouses and schools and health clinics and libraries, and we just went everywhere. And we just listened to Sheila present the opportunity and the products in like 15 minutes or less. She talks fast. She has Southern fast talk. It's like really funny. And she doesn't have a drawl. She like talks fast for a Southern. And then she held 2 events. And we just felt, okay, now we know what to do. We had to see it. There weren't YouTube videos back then of how to do this business, and we didn't have the new starter kit that we have now, which is unbelievable. I mean, y'all should be so excited. This is what we've been screaming for and dying for 3+ years. Well, that's me. Sarah Marble, Sheila, who've been in like 5+ years, they've been wanting this not even that much longer. So it was one of those things where we just, once we saw it, okay, we know what to do, we just took off. And so everybody has their own journey, and people always want to know, well, you know, how'd you do it so fast? Because we did become emeralds in 6 months, and the next month I went sapphire, and then in my ninth month went diamond, and then Sonia went diamond the month later. But we, you know, we brought so many skills into Plexus, and one thing, you know, to really understand is, don't ever compare, you know, yourself with others, because usually what we're doing when we do that is we're comparing our shortcomings with their strengths. So be very clear on when you go to compare with somebody, use it as a constructive way to see, like to gauge where you're at and what they're doing. But see, a lot of the people like Celeste, I don't know if you saw her live video today, that was on Facebook. If you don't follow her, she did a great live thing today where she talked about the top 5 things that you need as to be successful in network marketing, because she wasn't a network marketer. But what she had going for her were her relationships. And the reason I bring that up is when I left network marketing with my cosmetic company before, I had a lot of those relationships still intact, not like close by any means. I kind of like left that whole industry and said goodbye, but they were still my friends because I value relationships. So there are several people on my team. I have an Emerald Ame Darling who was, her and I were in the other company together for the whole time practically, and many of my rubies and above and things like that, I did keep that relationship. So when you go, first of all, you should never be beating yourself up ever, because that doesn't serve you or anybody in this business. But when you really think about when you got into Plexus, what were your relationships like, and what are they like now, and are you nurturing them and fostering them? Because those are the reasons that so many people might go faster, because they have that credibility and they have just a lot of influence, and they, you know, and Celeste is a perfect example. Like she has the it factor where people want what she wants. She has credibility. So when she joined Plexus and people knew she didn't need the money, it was like, oh my gosh, you know, why is she doing this? And for me, it was like I was Miss Weight Watchers. Everyone knew I would never get back into network marketing. So I could have used that as a reason like, oh gosh, nobody's going to want to. But see, it intrigued people because I did have credibility, and they trusted me to know, okay, if she left Weight Watchers to do this, well, we know it's not a diet because Helen doesn't believe in diets, even though I, of course, have been on every diet under the sun before Weight Watchers. But anyway, so just really think about those important factors and components to where you're at. And here's the great news. You can always grow, and there's so much room for improvement and growth, and anyone can get there. I have a gal who joined my team my third month. She's the most introverted person you'll ever meet. As a matter of fact, I barely knew her before Plexus. Well, I got to know her about a year before Plexus, but before that, I barely knew her because she would barely wave to me. She's my neighbor, and she would barely give me eye contact, like just really shy, withdrawn. I ran a contest, the first shopping spree that I won with Plexus. She had been in Plexus for not quite a year, maybe 9 or 10 months. And I ran a contest to give away $1,000 of my $5,000 to any of my level ones. Whoever got the most level ones, because Matt wasn't going with me, they'd go with me to the shopping spree in Bloomingdale's, New York. I mean, it was like an awesome contest, right? My level ones were like crazy excited, except her. So I confronted her one day. I was like, why haven't you said anything about this contest? Like, it is like the most amazing contest. Don't you want to go to New York and like have $1,000 to spend in Bloomingdale's? And she's like, I'm tapped out. I don't have any more level. I've sponsored everybody I know. And I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't trained her right. Like, she doesn't understand this is network marketing, and your list, your Frank's list, now y'all know what that is, the welcome pack, always should be growing. But I use that story because I want to tell you last month, this is 2.5 years ago when we had this conversation. She sponsored 6 level ones in a month. Like, the growth I have seen from her is unbelievable. And so just know, whatever your story is swirling around in your head, why it hasn't happened yet, why you're not at gold yet, or why you just need that one more person, and where are they going to come from? Just know you have to have the mindset that you are in school, you deserve this, you're going to grow, and you are going to make it. Because I have seen, this is what I call them the perks of longevity, the blessings of being in Plexus this long, is the growth I have seen for my team members. It just makes me cry. Like, there's nothing more exciting. They start to walk a little taller, believe in themselves. I always say network marketing is like, it's like the best self-improvement course you'll ever take for free or get paid to take. Because what you have to remember, by the time you get to Diamond, you have had all the bloodied knees and scraped up knees that I experienced in my old company for 16 years. And just know that you're going to have all those experiences that will shape you to become a good leader if you choose to work on yourself and learn and grow from them rather than allow them to slow you down. And so I think that your belief, right from the beginning and from when you decide is going to be a 10 in all areas, is really going to start to change the momentum for you. And I don't know what it looks like for anybody. So we just had a guest speaker on our Monday night call last night. She was in the Valley of Gold for 2 years, and she's now a senior gold. But it was because she used that time to work on herself, read self-improvement books, and figure out how to do this thing and be a good leader, not a manager of people, or all the little nuances of things that can kind of hold us back. I always say there's a series of little things that can add up to the big things as to why it might not happen faster for you, or you might get stuck or whatever. So some things I just wanted to share with you. Let's see how we're doing on time. About like what I do and how I work with my team. I'm a very, I guess I probably was born to be in this industry because I love my relationships, I love my friendships, I love spoiling my team, I love giving my team the credit, I love being about other people. And so that's another mindset that you need to adapt to really take it to that next level where you shift from all about my position to I want to get to know every single person on my team, their why, their goals, their dreams, their personality, so I can help to mirror them. Because you have to think big. You're going to have lots of people on your team, and most of them won't be exactly like you, so you're going to have to figure out a way to work with a lot of different personality styles. Those are the kind of things I mean when I say this is a process, this is a journey, and really understanding the business. But I think one of the things I wish I would have done sooner, because I believed in the business from day one, but I didn't pour my belief into other people from day one. And I think part of my hang-up was because I had a lot of baggage still from my other company. I never wanted Plexus to jeopardize my friendships or relationships, because that can sometimes happen in network marketing if people choose not to purchase from you. I want to make sure my friends know I'm okay either way. So the way I approached it, because I did end up having a lot of my friends that joined my team, I was like, okay, whatever you want from the business, you just let me know. I'm here for you. And that's a real passive approach to leadership. That's not being bold, and we are called to be bold, and we need to kind of extract that from people more, I think, than we think. And that takes a lot of confidence as a person to work with your team members that way. So from the beginning, whether people join for wholesale or not, I breathe that belief into them right away. And if I know that they're not really into the opportunity, or they don't think they are yet, I'll just say, I know this probably isn't your thing, and you're just thinking, I want to get, me and my spouse's wholesale, products and maybe a couple neighbors. But I feel like I really at least need to do my job and let you know about our compensation plan, because what a lot of people don't even realize is it just takes 3 or 4 customers to actually get your products paid for. And after all the people we just talked about and that you actually know through your work and that are in pain or whatever, you might end up getting a little side business along with your products getting paid for of a couple $100s a month. So I just need to make sure that you understand how that works. Is that okay? We're just going to take 20 minutes. I'm going to go through the comp plan with you. And see, here's the beauty of that starter kit. Now you can go through that with them. So I would make sure to not I think what I see a lot of people do is have that more passive approach when they're signing people and when they're going to grow their team. It's kind of like you don't want to be that pushy leader, but all you're doing is doing your job and educating them on what they have just signed up to do. And you can even say, in the beginning, whatever your story is, make sure to be very transparent and authentic and real with your people right up front. Be goofy. My team, when I say if I can do this, anybody can do this. Your upline, Mary Kay, last week said that at the meeting. She goes, I don't mean to be rude, but when I met Helen and I was like, she can be a diamond, I can be a diamond. And I laughed. I'm like, but it's true. That's not insulting to me. Who am I? I'm just somebody who fell in love with network marketing and people and chose to work this as a business. And anyone can do that. Anyone can if they choose to take this seriously. So also having a launch party. Huge component of having a launch party. So there's a couple red flags that come to me when I'm working, because I don't ever want to work with people who don't really want this. So in the beginning, you do your part as the sponsoring ambassador to let them know what they have. You go through the welcome kit with them, back office, just basics, things like that. But then when you have an ambassador who you really feel wants to run with this, and maybe the conversation changes as you go through that welcome kit, and all of a sudden they're like, maybe I could just have a little bit, take this a little more seriously and do this more part-time through my work, or the people I know, my family, blah blah blah. So that's when you would say, well, let's just go ahead and have a little launch party. And it doesn't need to be big. I don't want it to be big. See, that's what can stress people out. Think, oh my gosh, you know what? If 4 people came, to me, that's perfect. Because guess what? Then I really get to know them. Anything huge, when I do events, it's so hard. I can barely talk to anybody at the end because of questions, and it's noisy and people want to take pictures, and I like the intimacy, and that's really how this business is built, is one face at a time, one person at a time, one relationship at a time, one presentation at a time, one lunch party at a time. It's layers, and that's where I think when people want it really fast and they want it to happen quickly, it's like they don't understand, it's okay just to, go through the process. It's better to build on those relationships than just to pass out a bunch of flyers or put a bite out there on Facebook and hope that people will take the bite, right? We want to nurture those relationships, and that takes a lot of time and effort to do this right and to do it well. There's nothing better of a compliment than when I have somebody who's been a friend of mine for a long time who says no, 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 no in the beginning, and I just love them where they're at. Don't act desperate. I know what I have. We have a saying in this house with Matt and I, it's like sooner or later they all come around. And it's just true. Like, that's my mindset. They will eventually all want to try Plexus. So I never let any of that stuff ruffle my feathers, and then they eventually do come around. And that's the biggest compliment to me, because they've trusted me and they're willing to take that next step and join Plexus with me instead of just trying to recruit the masses and just hope somebody really gets it. I would rather have quality over quantity. Now, of course, you want to go big. That's why you got to work really hard in an intense part of time to get that quantity, but also have the quality. I hope that kind of makes sense. But so the launch party is a red flag. It's like if they really want it, but they won't even book one, because I offer to either do a Zoom if they're out of town, or I can come to their house and do one, and they just keep, like, I have a level 1, I sponsored her months ago. She wants it so bad, so bad. We still haven't gotten her launch party going. So you know what? I just let her go. She knows I'm there, but I'm not going to hound her anymore. Sheila used to say this when we would do events together, and in the very, very beginning, when people would come up and just be negative after an event, or the products aren't working for me, and blah, 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 she said, you want to have the mindset, and you don't do this to me, meaning you don't really say it, but this is kind of your posture, is kindly step out of the way so I can get to the 10,000 people that are dying for my product. And that's how you want to be too when you work with your team. I don't ever want my upline to feel like they need something from me and they want me to produce for their goals. We have to be real cognizant of that as well. And just, you want to be so good and you have something so wonderful that people come crawling and begging and wanting your time and attention and your products, right? The last thing I just wanted to share before I can open it up for questions is the other thing I'm going to do for every single person starting now, because Sonia and I just finished that book study for our senior goals and above, is to give them the book, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself by Shad Helmstetter. Never say his name right. And it's just a really great book about affirmations and self-talk. And I'm going to tell you, I travel a lot. I do a ton of trainings, and people always want me to do trainings after their meeting or before their meeting and stuff. And it's not that I don't believe that training about follow-up and scripts and things like that isn't important, because it is. It's part of the business. We need to know what to say and how to follow up with our customers, and all those little things are important. They all make up being a well-rounded, great ambassador. But what I see after my 20 years in this industry, why so many people do not succeed, and really the only way you'll ever truly not succeed is if you quit, right? There is no failure unless you just absolutely quit. But why people actually do quit is because they try so hard, they do everything right, but they just don't believe in themselves, and they let the little daily self-talk or what people said to them in 4th grade still affect their deserve level. You can make a lot of money in this company. Obviously, we've all seen the comp plan, but there are people who truly have hang-ups if they've never had money ever about making $400,000 a year as a diamond. That's out of their realm of thought. Why? There's mindset shifts that need to take place. So this book has been so transformational for our team we had somebody rank up to Ruby who'd been stuck for a while, like right at the end of the class, and we gotten more texts and emails and breakthroughs, people sharing their breakthroughs with us than any other thing we've ever done. And what's really cool about this book too is it's not just about Plexus and how this can help your Plexus business, but your family life. Like, we're like, oh my gosh, could I have a do-over raising my boys? You know, like I have a son who's super talented musician, but he's like unorganized and he's always running late, and it's like he's frustrated and we get frustrated, but instead of like affirming that, you know, just coming up with counter affirmations to help him through that. We had a gal whose son couldn't read. He's been diagnosed with all these different learning challenges, and reading's just been so hard for him. And they started making daily affirmations as a family for his reading, and he's reading now. So this isn't some like new age, like hooey pie in the sky kind of weird thing. This is actually like a biblical principle, you know, as a man thinketh, so is he. So it's a very, very, very impactful book. And I thought, you know, what better to give somebody from the get-go, especially when we're brand new and we're all excited, and all of a sudden all the people we thought were going to support us now won't even talk to us. There's a lot of psychological things that go on in this business, whether we want to really admit it or not, that affect our daily activity in Plexus, and showing up boldly every day, how we share in public, and having our trials with us, and just, you know, being that ambassador who is on purpose. There are thoughts and things that go through our mind that affect that, and that needs to happen consistently for us to ever get to the top of this company. So I can't say it enough how important. I'd love for all of you guys to read that book. We made 7 YouTube videos when we were going through the book with our senior goals and above, and they're all on our My Plexus Power channel or website, and they're also on Sonia's YouTube channel. And so you guys could do the study on your own, you could do it together, but just read the book, do the assignments throughout the book, and I would love to know if you guys do it and what you get from it, because it has been, and we kept the group open for our senior goals and above, and we still, just right before this call, 2 people posted in the group because we said, we want to hear how you guys are doing, and we want to hear your progress, and it has been so exciting to see people just start to realize that, you know, because like I had these twin boys in my neighborhood when I was like, you know, in elementary school that used to taunt me and say, Helen, Helen, fat as a watermelon. And for years, I just believed I was supposed, and plus I was, you know, chubby. I was a chubby kid, and then I had kids, and I just thought, this is just the way I'm supposed to be. But one day, after lots of just training and, you know, self-talk, or just believing that I really wasn't meant to be a size 12, 14, I really felt better, and why can't I be a size 8 or whatever, I changed. But it took years and years and years, and for the longest time, I just felt like I'm supposed to be this big all my life because of that. And so, you know, when we're really honest with ourselves, and that's what the book kind of just gets you to bring to light, you start to recognize the things that you feel trapped in your mind, or things maybe that you're saying. And here's what I'm going to say too, and I'll just finish with this. If that's not one of your hang-ups and you're confident and you don't have any issue with self-talk, the reason we still are encouraging people to read the book is because you're probably going to have team members that are, and that do, and that's it's a huge reason why people quit, is they just don't believe in themselves, and they never get over that and past that. So it's important to understand that part of our business is your mindset, and the book really brings all that to light. So I can open it up for questions. I hope I didn't ramble too long.
That was perfect. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
All right. Oh, go ahead, Riley.
Can't hear you, Riley.
Riley, you have a question?
Can't hear you. No.
I can hear you. Here. Try again.
Okay. Could you kind of expand on what you posturing?
Will I expand on what?
What you said about Sheila, when somebody approaches her about something negative about the business or whatever, and you said, you know, let me talk to the people who are dying for what I have. Can you kind of explain? Can you kind of expand on that?
Yeah. It's just, I think, like, you know, we're always going to have people who claim the products don't work, or negative people on our team that just, can't. What I know about negative people is they don't usually know that they're negative. Okay, so you're always like when we get people that come up to us at the end of a meeting and they're just like, well, I gained weight and and so her mindset, what she taught us early on was to have the mindset of kindly, instead of letting those people get to you and you start to question and doubt your own company, your own products, and your opportunity and everything, it's just to have that mindset like kindly step out of the way so I can get to the 10,000 people who are dying for my product. So the point being is there always will be those negative people, but there's many more, thank goodness, they're outnumbered by the positive people who are willing to try these products with a 60-day money-back guarantee. They're willing to join and see this opportunity for what it is and work hard at it. It's just that we have to not allow those people to get to us. So it's just kind of a fun thing to say to yourself. We have to kind of play a lot of tricks in our mind when we get inundated with negativity. And I always just say, have your little 5-minute pity party, whatever you need to do, but get over it, get on with it. We are blessed to be the messengers of these life-changing products. And if you have seen my Perfect Plexus Power Day graphic that I made, there's actually I insist this starts the Perfect Power Day, Plexus Power Day out by like putting your feet on the floor and saying, I don't have to, I get to. And that's a huge shift in your mind. I have to go meet some new people. I have to sell some trials. I have to get some new customers to get to gold. I have to do this. I have to do that. I'm on a Zoom call right now. Oh, I'm going to be off in 5 minutes. Can you give me 2? So it's just having that mindset shift that is so critical to your success. And there are people who think they have shifted and that they do it, but then I don't see it through and through. I encourage all of you to listen to the recording of the art call last night. The gal who was in stuck at gold for 2 years. And I want you to listen to her passion. I want you to listen to her voice. And I talked a lot about that. Like, I believe her. I believe that she's going to be a diamond. There was not one hesitation. I've never met her in person. I didn't know. But there's an unspoken energy. It's called an energy signature that you leave people. And it's going to be, because they can choose. People can choose whether they're going to buy or join with us. Whether we want to believe we're entitled to them or not, ultimately it's the people's choice. So we are a walking, talking billboard for Plexus. So we want to make sure that they always choose us because we're positive, we're confident, we know where we're going. I mean, I could do a whole training on being a visionary leader. Like, do you know where you're going, and do you know where you're taking your team, and do they know? So I know I get off on tangents, but just to kind of answer that, Riley, I mean, there is so much importance to that. I can't say it enough.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Helen, this is Natasha. Thank you for sharing what you did about like when you get a new person come on board, going through kind of the back office and the new welcome kit and everything. And the launch party. Is there anything else you can share that you do around like best practices, like when you get a new person on, or just in general with your team?
Yeah, I think that you kind of want to keep them in your hip pocket for the first month, in that you spend a lot of time communicating with them. You make sure that they understand what they can understand, but without like baiting them. Like Sheila never held my hand. I certainly don't hold people's hand, but I let them know it's all about really playing ball. Like if I ask you, let's get your launch party booked, and you say okay, well then I'm probably not going to bug you about it. I'm going to wait for you to come back and say, okay, I've got this date and this date, and then I come back and say this date works for me. Like I think, and I'm not afraid to have those conversations up front. This is kind of what I was talking about about being bold and just establishing yourself as their leader from the get-go and letting them know my job is not to be, if I'm not your boss, I'm not your best friend, I'm not your pastor, I'm not your counselor. My job is just to help you get what you want out of your business. So getting started the best way you can would be through a launch party, and of course, you know, helping them with their first Facebook post and doing some social media training like that. But you know, my job is just to help you, and that's it. And so I need that communication is huge. I need to play ball, and it needs to go back and forth. I have big goals. I've got a large team. Everybody's important, but I work with the people who want it. I work with the people who are willing to work with me. And there is people will respect that way more than just. There's a lot of assumptions that can be made because again, network marketing is usually different than what people think. And so you just got to set that tone from the get-go. But basically, just equipping them, going through their starter kit, staying in touch with them either through text, Facebook Messenger, or a phone call at least every other day, if not every day, their first month, just to kind of, you know, get things going. And then, you know, putting them obviously in your group, and then, you know, and you can see who's engaged and who's not. It doesn't mean if they don't really play ball from the day one in that first month that you just let them go. But you know, we make the mistake of working with our 80% who are easy, who are just, they want to be babysat and they want to be our best friend, versus working with the 20% who really want it. And I realize none of you have hundreds and hundreds of in your team yet, but this is just kind of things to know as you grow. You've got to just really be smart about how you're working. And the best thing ever to do is just to continue to be that example. All you should be focused on right now, you guys, to get to goal, is to become a silver yourself every single month and helping your team to get their first few customers and then become silver themselves. If that's all you focused on, you'll get there, because the exponential growth will start to happen, because then you teach them to do that with their team. And so, you know, how do you do that? Well, to become a silver, they have to be getting the product in the hands of people by selling trials, posting on Facebook, having a launch party, you know, plugging into a Zoom event if you're doing an online event. You know, just taking it seriously like that and letting them know that this is what, if you want this business, this is what you need to do. And you tell them. And you're going to have some that do it and some that don't. And the ones that continually don't but keep talking, those are the ones I'm talking about, that you just send them an encouraging note once a month. Hey, thinking about you. You know, believe you. Love to see you get going. But that's the extent of it.
Okay.
We never have to be desperate.
Thank you.
I hope that helps.
That's great.
All right. We have to wrap up. Thank you so much for with us and being such an inspiration. We really, really appreciate it.
I'm so proud of you, and all of you guys. Are you guys coming to the Brainerd thing I'm doing next month? Any of you? I know Maureen had talked about going.
Yeah, I'd like to. I haven't really figured out with schedule-wise, but
okay. I'd love to see you guys.
Thanks,
Excited
Helen.
to be doing it in Wisconsin. I'm proud of all of you.
Thank you so much for taking the time.
My pleasure. All right. Talk to you later.
Bye.
bye.